Load shedding is driving me crazy. Hi guys, I am tired, but it's only 9 in the morning, so I thought it would be the best time today to actually basically do a deep dive into the last 5 years of my health. Fast forwarding all the way to the beginning. Basically in 2017, I was in grade 9, so gosh, was I 15? I don't think I was even 15 yet, but roughly in 2017, I had all of these issues that began to start, and we didn't even realize until it was really, really bad. Because, like, you see this red in my face, it's not as much because, yeah, it's 5 years and still going. It's not. We've not reached the finish line, but we'll get there. So, what happened in grade 9? I remember it was this one day during PT, or physical training, physical education, whatever you call it. I remember we never used to do warm-ups, which is weird, but we never used to do warm-ups. We would basically run to a tree and back, and that was the warm-up. And I remember feeling weak. I couldn't explain it at the time because I thought, okay, maybe I'm just unfit, or maybe I just need to run more, you know. So I remember I felt so weak, and every single time we would have PT, I would just see that everyone else was also unfit, so we were all it kind of felt like, okay, this is normal because it was happening to everybody else. But in my case, I didn't realize that doing the least was making me so tired, and walking up the stairs, it made me feel dizzy. My body felt like it was going to give in. I didn't know what was going on, and basically it led to the day where we were standing in the line waiting for our teachers. And what would happen in the morning is we would all line up in the quad. This was grade 9. We would line up in the quad, wait for our teachers, and wait for them to, class by class, let us go up to our classes. And they were just taking very long this one morning, and I just couldn't understand what was going on. But I had a winter wear on because it was very cold. I know it was winter time, which means I could have been 15, but I would have been 15 for about a month or two. And it was very cold that morning, so what had happened didn't make sense to me. That as we were standing in the line, I just started getting hot, like profusely hot. I was getting so hot, I was sweating, and I just couldn't understand it. I didn't even realize I was getting hot, but I could just feel I was uncomfortable. I needed to take my blazer off. I needed to take my jersey off. It didn't make sense to me, and everything just became blurry. And I just remember my body feeling, I know, dude, I'm trying to tell a story here, man. We didn't even have him yet. Wow. We didn't even have our dog yet. Luckily, one of my friends was a first aider, so she saw what was happening and she knew what was going on before I did, which was crazy. Thank you. You know who you are. Well, you probably forgot. I'll message you. And I just remember her screaming. Because everything, I just couldn't see anymore. Something, it was starting to go black. I didn't know what was going on. And I just remember hearing her say, she's going to faint, take off her bag, take off her blazer. And as all of this is happening, I'm going, what? And they're taking the blazer off, they're taking the scarf off, they're taking everything off, they're taking my bag, they're getting me to the office. Once they got me to the office, I laid my head down on the desk because I couldn't catch my breath. And I think I was laying on the desk for about 5 minutes until I actually started to realize, hey, I'm overheating. Because when I lifted my head up, my arm was soaked in sweat. And I was still sweating. I was still getting so hot. You would have sworn I had ran from home to school. But I didn't run anywhere. That's what was so bizarre to me. And it was ice cold outside. So it's not like the sun was, making me sweat. This was just happening to me. And then they called my mother, we went to the doctor, asked him to take blood tests, see what's going on, and they were like, no, she needs to be admitted into hospital like now. So at that time, they didn't know what was even to be guessed about what was wrong with me. They just gave me, I think they gave me 3 pints of blood and 2 pints of iron. And it was frustrating because obviously your body's taking in all these liquids, so you're gonna go to the bathroom a lot. It was annoying. I don't like it. Having to get up all the time with this damn needle in your arm because I was attached to the drip. It was frustrating. But luckily I had my mom there because since I was under 18, I was allowed to have my mother stay over. So that helped immensely because I had never been in this situation before. I'd never had a drip in my arm before. I'd never had to move around with a drip. So it was a lot. It was a lot. I actually had a few people visit me, which was weird. It didn't seem that serious to me. At the time, I didn't know what was going on. I was just told, okay, so you're gonna get blood and iron, and then you're gonna go home. I didn't know how severe my case was. I didn't know what could happen if I hadn't gone there, and I didn't know what could happen if the blood and iron didn't settle in my body. So, and my mother knew all of these things. And she was crying. I thought she was probably just relieved that we got it in time. Y'all didn't tell me anything. But yeah, so that was the beginning. And that was when all the real problems started. That was when the pain started. I started having stomach spasms. And it didn't make sense to me because no one knew what it was. So we went to our general practitioner, GP, and he listened to all of my symptoms and just said, oh, okay, you have gastritis. And I was like, okay. So basically he just said, this is medications you can take. And that was it. Just gave tablets. Then I started noticing it was still happening. It was still going on. It was only getting worse. I practically only ate ice for a long time because the thought of eating food put me off, because everything I ate was causing spasms, and I didn't know if I ate bread it happened, if I ate porridge it happened, if I drank water it happened. I didn't know what was going on. Then we went to our first surgeon, and he listened to all of my symptoms. He did this thing where they press on your stomach and it's painful every time. But I don't know why they're supposed to press if it's already painful. I wanted to cry. And they did this to me about 2 or 3 times. By 2 or 3 different people. We'll get to that. But he basically just said, we don't need to do any tests. But we believe you have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And it's a condition that can't be cured. It just has to be changed by changing your lifestyle and getting more exercise. So, but he said, since you're changing your lifestyle, you need to change your diet. So I was like, oh, okay. And they did they do anything? No. They were going to do a colonoscopy, but he said, you're too young. This is IBS. You don't have to do that. And as the years go by, we started changing my diet. Like, we started cutting out white bread. We started cutting out white pasta. We started, it was a lot. I remember it was a lot. We started cutting out beans. We started changing the foods that we cooked, the way we cooked it. We stopped making a lot of fatty food. We stopped having cold drink. There was a lot of things we stopped because they said, with this condition, you can't have that, you can't have that, you can't have that. So then we started seeing that even though I was cutting all of these things out, this is still happening. So we went to another doctor and they checked again, and he said, our GP said, okay, your blood's low, maybe your menstruation is too heavy. So we went to see a gynecologist, and she checked and she said, okay, so you might have a cyst, which I didn't, but she said you might, which is, she said, just about that small. It wasn't huge, like to operate or anything. And she was like, okay, we're gonna start putting you on the pill, and it's gonna decrease the size of the cyst because it's practically water, so it's just gonna decrease the size and you'll be fine, and all of that stuff. And the blood issue was never solved. We did blood tests, as I said, and then the GP recommended the gynecologist because they just assumed, okay, maybe she's just bleeding too much on the period. And because my iron was getting lower, they went, okay, so she's anemic. And he just started putting me on these iron supplements, and still the blood problem, it wasn't even thought about. They just thought, ugh man, she's a female. Females most likely lose blood through menstruation, so it's not a big problem. And if you lose a lot of blood, you lose a lot of iron in the blood, so let's just give her iron. And then we thought that was solved. And not too long after that, we went to another surgeon, and they did a scoposcopy where I think it's a gastroscopy. They basically put a camera down your throat and they check everywhere inside to see if there's any problems, any causes, any what's for the spasms that was going on and all of that. Couldn't find anything. And it was frustrating because since they were saying they couldn't find anything, obviously you feel crazy, because then why are these things happening to you? And your parents think you're crazy, because then why are these things happening to you? It was hard. It was very difficult because I was being told constantly to stop being dramatic, that it was nothing, that nothing was happening to me. I was just imagining it. It was extremely frustrating, and it's still frustrating, and you'll understand why soon. So after the gastroscopy, they couldn't find anything. They didn't know what was going on. So they said they were going to do x-rays, and they were going to do abdominal x-rays. And when was this? Keep in mind, this is all earlier this year. Yeah, earlier this year. And that was roughly May this year. That over the past few years, we've been seeing the iron's low, the blood's low. What do we do? And they would give me more pills, and nothing was really being done about it. So I just couldn't anymore, because they did the x-rays, they did the abdominal scans, everything, and then a gastroenterologist came and spoke to us. And before he spoke to us, they told us with the abdominal scans they could see that I possibly had cysts. So after all of that was happening, the gastroenterologist came in the morning and he was saying, okay, so Colin, you're full of shit. I don't know, I think that was supposed to be funny. I was just so sick I didn't find it funny. Basically my entire colon was impacted, and what that means is from top to bottom, solid as rock, my colon was full. And what causes this? Lo and behold, iron tablets. And just before all of the really bad stuff happened, my GP had been putting me on 4 iron tablets for 2 weeks, because we did blood tests and everything. My blood was low, my iron was low, but they believed, okay, we're gonna quadruple your dose for 2 weeks, and this is gonna bring your iron levels up. And when your iron levels are up, your blood will, fall into place and what. So they did all of that, and that is what led me to the ER twice. And it was the craziest thing, because we went to the ER 2 nights in a row. The first night we went there, and of course the service is always horrible. I was in pain that afternoon. I remember I was in pain that afternoon from 1. I had thrown up twice. I had taken pain medication and thrown that up, and we all know how it sucks to throw up chemical stuff. Yeah, so I don't think I actually brought it up to my mother until I think 5, 6 the evening, and then 7 we decided, okay, we're going to trauma, we're gonna get something done. We went there and we probably sat there for about 2 hours before they actually took us to a room. Then once we were in a room, I think it took them about 40 minutes before they helped us. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And then they put me on a drip and whatever, and I think by midnight we came home. Came home, but I was freaked out. I didn't want to come home, and my colon was still full. They didn't tell me what I could take, nothing. So I didn't, but at that time we didn't know yet that my colon was full. So I just said to my mom, because she brought me like chicken curry. I was so hungry, but I couldn't eat. I was too scared to eat, because I said to her, let's get me laxatives or something, because I was too scared to eat. I just thought, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna get sick again, and all of this is gonna happen all over. So we got that, came home probably at 1 in the morning, went to sleep. I think I got up at 9 that morning, and I didn't eat breakfast because I wasn't really hungry. So lunchtime I had something to eat. I think at 3. I think I had something to eat at 3. So it was a struggle. I had something to eat and it all started all over again. I started having these cramps, these pains. I couldn't think straight. It just started getting worse and worse and worse. And the previous night, the hospital gave us a prescription. So we had Tramadol, which they said is a last option because it's very strong, apparently. So they gave us Tramadol, they gave us still pain, and they gave us paracetamol. So I had an experience with paracetamol before, because the year prior to that I had taken 3. Now keep in mind, I didn't know anything about pills. I didn't know paracetamol is 500 milligram each. I had no idea what was going on. So I actually almost successfully died from an overdose on accident by paracetamol. Because I let me tell you, I'm sick of these tablets. I couldn't see anything. Everything was distorted. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't breathe properly. I was sweating profusely and my throat just felt so dry. And my mother looked at me and she knew what was going on. Why is it that everyone knows what's going on and I don't? Maybe I should become a doctor. But she knew and she said, just sit upright, keep drinking water, and eventually that was all sorted out. So anyways, they gave us paracetamol, they gave us Tramadol, they gave us Stilbane. And the night after hospital, I remember eating and everything just started all over again. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So let me just take these tablets. So I took 2. Oh, no. They also gave us Buscopan Co. because apparently that's stronger than Buscopan. So I took 2 Buscopan Co. And hell, you could have sworn I just took 2 Tic Tacs. It did absolutely nothing. And I didn't know what to do. I'm like stuttering because that's just how messed up the situation was. We had no idea what to do. So I took 2 Stilbane after that. Took 2 Stilbane. Also, it's like I took freaking sweets. It did nothing. The pain just kept getting worse and worse. I couldn't even move. My body hurt so much. I just couldn't freaking move. I didn't know what to do. So as a last resort, we were like, okay, you know what? We're gonna take a Tramadol. And by this time, it's like it literally did nothing. It didn't make me dizzy, what. But then again, I was laying. So I took all of these and I can laugh about it now. I couldn't laugh about it then. But all of that medication obviously still has an effect, even if it doesn't get to where it needs to go. I just remember using the bathroom. Look, I can find it funny, okay? I don't find it funny in a sense that it's a joke. I find it funny in the sense that I didn't expect it to happen. So I finished in the bathroom, everything, and I stood up. And as I stood up, it was like my whole body gave up. So I stood up and my body was like, woo! And I just remember falling. And I laughed because I thought, what the hell is going on? And I just called my mother and I was like, Ma, I found it so bizarre. I didn't know what was happening. And while all of this is happening, I'm still in pain. But I had to get a laugh out of it. I was like, look here, either I laugh or I cry. I don't smack to cry. And we just figured, you know what, screw this. And we went straight back to hospital. And that was basically where they did all of the scans and they picked up the cysts, and we spoke to the gastroenterologist, and he basically told me, you are going to have to take what's called Movicol. It's a stool softener. So it was just to soften all the brick inside my body. And he said you're gonna have to take all of this for a couple of months until August, basically. So for a certain amount of time, even he's freaking out. So for a certain amount of time I had to take 2 sachets a day. Then I had to take 1.5, then 1, then a half, and then I would have to go back. Excuse the dog in the background, he's losing his mind because he barks at the air. We have confirmed this. He barks at the air. And while he gave us this whole Movicol story, we also went to the gynecologist to see what was going on, because the pill I had been taking clearly hadn't been doing anything. So they changed me to another one that was going to either stop my bleeding altogether or slow down the bleeding. And we figured, okay, that's sorted. We're taking the Movicol and what. So the stomach thing is sorted, and they put me on a different type of iron supplement, which was more absorbent. So we figured, okay, that's sorted. Problem solved. No, it wasn't. That was me, right? I didn't know what to do. When we went to the gynecologist, she explained I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, but I don't necessarily have cysts in my body. It's just that when your body gets to the final stage before menstruation, my body tends to stay in that stage. Like the follicle doesn't develop properly, and the egg isn't released, and wada, and periods don't exactly happen. Because then once they switched me to this pill, I had my period for 7 days, which is unusual, and because I normally bleed about 3-4 days, and then I didn't have it for about 3 months after that. Cut to 3 months later, spasms like crazy, body aches that would make me want to burn my own room down, and I just couldn't heat up. For the life of me, I couldn't heat up. I could sit in front of a heater. As soon as I walked away, ice cold. I could have a hot water bottle on me and my back is ice cold. I put it on my back, my front is ice cold. I could sit by the fireplace. The minute I move away from there, ice cold. It got to a point where I literally had to sit in a bath of boiling hot water just to shock the heat into my body. It was insane. I don't want to go back to that, but nope, we're not gonna cry on this video. But we don't know what's really going on yet. So after 3 months of not bleeding, we didn't know what was going on. I was as pale as a ghost. I actually look quite pale-ish, but I do still have color, so there's still hope. Yeah, so we went and we did blood tests, and this is where it all just became ridiculous. We did blood tests, and our GP was gonna give pills again. So my mother still said, for the love of heaven, no more pills. Because what point do you go, help the patient? No. Give them pills. No, man. You can't do the same thing for 5 years and expect that things are gonna be fine. Unless you don't want things to be fine. Then you're just a horrible doctor. Plain and simple. And I'm allowed to say that because if you've been prescribing the same thing that's been sending your patient to the ER more than 4 times, I mean, wouldn't you change your whole method by then? So yeah. So luckily, she didn't give us pills. We didn't take any pills, and we were only going to get the blood results the next day. So we had gone in 9 in the morning, did the blood tests. We were only getting the results the next morning. So we went in 9 a.m, only got the results. Well, we got the results there, but the doctor was still going to call us back to speak about the results and book us in at hospital. Fun fact, she only called us 4 p.m. and by then all the beds were still full. And it was stressful. So she said to us, okay, we can get you at this one hospital that's close by. I didn't want to go because those are the same people that misdiagnosed me years before. So hey, let's go back. I mean, how much worse can it get? To only find out the next morning that when we got there, nothing was booked for us. And I had been so afraid of having to stay home another night before, when the doctor basically called us and said, oh, you know, because we'd been expecting her call, I think 20 to 12. And I'm sorry I'm licking my lips a lot. I think I need to drink water. My mouth feels a bit dry. So I shall do that soon. Yeah, so we were so freaked out because I had been struggling to heat myself up, and load shedding. Load shedding. Try trying to heat yourself up when it's freaking 9 degrees and all your appliances are off. Thanks a lot, Eskom. Thank you. Which is why I would have to resort to sitting in a boiling freaking hot bath. Because you can't turn the heat on, you can't turn your bed on. You can make a fire, but that's gonna take like what, a million years to be hot? How thrilling it is to be a South African. So anyways, once we got there, we saw we weren't even booked and all the beds were full. So we got there about 8 o'clock. Got into the doctor's office 8:30. But this was a new doctor, completely new doctor. We had never seen him before. I think he saw us at 9 o'clock. I'm not sure. I think 9 o'clock. And he was just amazing. He was absolutely amazing. He heard everything that we have been doing these past few years, or not been doing. And basically, he was pissed. He looked at all of the tests and things we have done. He looked at the medications I showed him that I've been taking. He listened to the stories of the things that have been happening, and he was just furious. And thank God for that, because we have been furious for years, and the doctors have just been like, oh, just do this, or just do that, or no, it's this. Yeah, maybe I should become a doctor. But now you see, then I have to do math, and I have to do physics. But hey, if those people can do it and still misdiagnose people, then I can do it, so there's hope. And once he spoke to us, he said, okay, so we're gonna do he was very, very insightful. He said, we're gonna do a gastroscopy again, we're gonna do a colonoscopy again, and, well, not again, I never had one before. So he said, we're going to do those things, we're going to see if we can find anything. If we cannot, then we are going to do stool sampling, and we're going to check if you have any blood loss in there. And if we cannot find anything there, then they're going to do something called a capsule endoscopy, where they put this, it's like a tablet, but it's actually a camera. So you swallow the tablet, it goes into your small intestine. I think it's small intestine. Goes in there because it's too big of a surface area for them to go into when doing anything with the camera. So that tablet will basically go through the entire small intestine, take, we said 150,000 pictures apparently. You get it out of your body, clean it, wara. Then they basically send all of those images. It's like a USB, so once it's clean and everything, they plug it in the camera, they plug it in the laptop, and it sends all the pictures to one of the specialists overseas. He looks through all of them, so and so, and sends the results. Modern day technology, eh? So fast forwarding to now, they gave me 2 pints of blood, they gave me 3 pints of iron, they did the gastroscopy and the colonoscopy and they couldn't find anything. They are yet to send us the results on the stool sampling, and it's nerve-wracking. It's actually nerve-wracking because 2 days ago I had spasms, and I don't know when I'm gonna upload this video. I'm checking my calendar, because 2 days ago was the 18th September, and that was 2 days ago. I had spasms, and sometimes my body won't heat up. Am I getting nervous? Yeah. Am I trying not to freak out? Yeah. Is there nothing else I can do? There's nothing else we can do but wait. So that is that. A full 5 years of complete chaos. Let's just hope for the best and have hope that these guys know what's going on. Because even we basically dealt with 3 doctors in that 2 days I was in hospital. We dealt with the one surgeon that heard everything, basically sorted out all the appointments of the surgery. Well, not surgery, they call it surgery like you're going to surgery, but you're not having surgery, you're just having these tests done. And the other doctor that was going to perform the gastroscopy and things like that, and then the other doctor that I think he's also a surgeon, but he had our full history on a page, literally our full history. He could see every single time we came for blood, every time we came for iron, every time we didn't come. He saw my blood results of each time I took blood, and he said, but you came earlier this year and your blood was low, and now it's even lower, and your iron's also even lower. Like, why didn't they just give you blood and iron back then? Because they gave us tablets. He was furious, beyond pissed off. It's just such a relief to have other people that are important in the medical field to be as annoyed as we are. There's hope. There's hope in the medical field, yet not all of y'all are careless and cruel. But yeah, hopefully they'll give us the results and tell us what we have to do moving forward, because after a while it's not worth it anymore. It's really dark. Like, it gets you to a very dark place where you're like, why must I get blood and iron if it's just gonna disappear from my body again? And let it might drain me. Let it might disappear. Let it to my all just go to wherever the freaking hell it's going. And well, I hear funeral costs are cheap now. It's very dark. I know it's dark, but I mean, come on. With getting all the blood, getting all the iron, all the freaking time, it's expensive. Rather a cheap funeral than an expensive life. But it's a dark thought. It's just what 5 years of the same crap will do to you. But that's the story. I'll do another video once we have more updates. Once we know exactly what's going on. It would be amazing to know exactly what's going on. But for now, we're still not in the know. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of ups and downs, but yeah, y'all wanted to know what's going on, and now you do. And by the time I post this video, we'll probably have some results, so let's see.